Hey guys, it's me, Michael, and today we're playing new Ghostbusters 2 on the NES, which actually didn't come out in America. It actually came out in Europe and Japan. So I didn't really get to play this game until I was in my mid-20s. So to me, this is a fairly new experience. And this is the only game of the only game containing Ghostbusters that I know of that you can play as Louis Tully. So we actually got a Game Boy version that was somewhat similar to this, except on the bottom of the screen you had like this area that told you how many ghosts you needed to get and stuff like that. This one's kind of like a brawler where after you get all the ghosts there's like some arrow that tells you which way to go. Also in the Game Boy version you'd have to watch out for where your trapper went, because if he got hit it would actually take a life from you. This one, if your trapper gets exposed, you don't really have to worry about him getting hurt because he's invincible basically. So really all you have to worry about is you. Now this game isn't necessarily ridiculously hard. What makes it somewhat difficult is that your lives are basically your life bar as well. So once you get hit like about 4 times, it's game over, and then you only have 3 continues, which is kind of frustrating. If they gave you unlimited continues, it would make life easier. I've never actually been able to finish this game, but I really haven't had that much time playing it either. But I guess within a few years I should have been able to master it, but I haven't played it that much. But if I had this game back in the day, like, I would have probably even liked it more so than I do now. I actually really like this game now, even though I'm sort of jaded with some games, but I do think that this is probably on my list of one of the best NES games I've ever played. Slimer's kind of an asshole in this game. So we had the Game Boy version in the US, and when I first got the internet in my house, I'd say around 97. Slimer's such an asshole in this, throwing potted plants, and there's more than one Slimer. Apparently there's a lot of gluttonous people that died in this city. This is definitely like a game that the more you play, the better you get, because you remember what the characters do, because Slimer used to catch me off guard when I used to play it. I still get hit by him obviously like I just did, but I have a better chance of survival than I did when I first started playing this game. I really do like the graphics. Hell Laboratory actually made this game. Oh, that was stupid of me. Who actually makes the Kirby's Dream Land games and made the Super Smash Brothers game, although I do think that Namco is actually making them now, so it's sort of different. And this is actually the most proper fight of the Scoleri brothers I ever saw. But back to the internet story. Son of a bitch. I'm terrible at this game. But I'm recording a commentary. The furthest I've got is to the museum where I had to fight Janosch, which is towards the end of the movie, so I imagine it's pretty far, like in the game, like you probably didn't have much else to do. Judging by going to the museum though, I guess they skipped the whole Statue of Liberty part, but I keep on skipping my internet story. So anyway, there's a website which I don't think exists anymore called the Ghostbusters EctoWeb. It was like a fan page, and they covered all the video games, including a lot that were on computer systems that I don't even think we got here in the US. And on the Game Boy page of Ghostbusters 2, there were people saying, I think that I played this game on the NES and I can't remember. So this game was like a urban legend for a long time, because I guess the internet wasn't as widespread as it is now. I didn't really see this game until YouTube got really popular, so this game was kind of a urban legend for people that didn't live in Europe and Japan. And once we saw that the only version of Ghostbusters 2 on the NES that we got is the Activision one that's not very good, which I played to death though because I was a Ghostbusters fan. Son of a bitch. I'm kinda not used to this speed. There's actually a translated version for the US, so this one runs a little bit faster than the PAL version I was playing before. So I'm used to the slower speed. Let's see. Come on. I think this is the PAL code. I just don't think that, I think it's sped up or whatever to match, like, I guess the speed of the Japanese and the translated US version. Because I think PAL games tend to have a longer screen vertically, and NTSC games actually have a longer screen width-wise. Oh, that means one of those terrible things are back there. So yeah, I didn't get to play this game until I saw it on YouTube, and then I got interested, and then I eventually got a chance to play it. So I guess this is one of the better NES games I played, and it's amazing that's a licensed game. But for whatever reason, Activision didn't release new Ghostbusters 2 for the American audiences, which is weird because the Game Boy version was somewhat of a port of this, like a very loosely based port, because it had like some of the same character sprites and it controlled the same, but the rules were different. And there's little power-ups and stuff on the Game Boy version that you didn't have, like you had a slime blower, you had this vacuum thing that sucked ghosts to the ground, and then you could trap them early. So we're skipping way ahead story-wise in Ghostbusters 2. This shouldn't happen till way later in the game, as it did in the movie, but I guess they need to stretch out the story, because after the Scoleri brothers, there's just a montage on the movie. I don't remember seeing girls with bows in their head, but there were heads on sticks, which is kind of creepy for a PG movie. Surprised this movie, Ghostbusters 2, didn't get like a PG-13 movie rating or whatever. I don't know what the PG-13 type of rating is in other countries. I always think it's kind of creepy that that train disappears. I guess it's supposed to be the train that goes through Winston, but on this you can actually physically stand on it. So here we are in Vakeman's apartment. This level's kind of long. I don't know if I'll be able to get past this because of the, I guess, the addition of speed, and me actually talking kind of makes it hard. You can tell I'm kind of tired today, so my commentary isn't at the greatest. I actually recorded this before and something happened in my file, and it makes me mad because I think that commentary I did was like way better, but something happened to the file where I couldn't get the audio to sync properly, and it was context sensitive, where I would talk about when I would like take a ghost or get hit or something, so the video would have been kind of weird because it would have been off key, and I would be talking about things when they weren't happening in the actual video, so I had to delete it. So I wish they'd make a proper version of the Ghostbusters 2 movie DVD. I actually saw this movie in the movie theater. I wasn't old enough to see Ghostbusters 1 in the theater because I was born in '84, the year it came out. So my father took me to go see Ghostbusters 2, and from what I've read, there's actually scenes that were in the theater version that haven't come on to the video, including one of the scenes is right at the end of the movie. I hate these little trolls. They don't even look like they would fit in this universe. This looks more appropriate for like if it was a real Ghostbusters game. Some of the music in here is licensed. I don't know if you noticed, like the River of Slime, was Flipside City or whatever the song was called. Whatever song plays when the slime rises and starts to leak out of the sewer drains in Times Square. That one lady with the mink coat actually walks through the slime, and it makes her mink coat come alive, and she takes it off when it starts crawling down the street. If you have Ghostbusters 1, that's actually a storyboard sequence from the first movie that they never used, and they saved it for Ghostbusters 2, so it kind of makes me wonder what was left out of Ghostbusters 2 in the storyboards that they might have used for the third movie. And there's a few scenes, usually in the Ghostbusters montages are scenes that are cut. Like there's this son of a bitch. These guys get on my nerves. Like there's a scene on the Ghostbusters 2 montage where they're riding the Ecto-1. Oh, I hate those guys with the ninja stars. Where Peter gives like a double take at Ray when driving the Ecto-1. Well, Ray actually got possessed in the script, and it's actually in the Ghostbusters 2 comic book starring the real Ghostbusters, because apparently the people that play the Ghostbusters didn't want their likeness in the games. That's why I had a coloring book with people that are supposed to be the Ghostbusters that look nothing like the Ghostbusters. Anyway, Ray got possessed when he was actually looking in the eyes of the Vigo statue, which that part's in the movie where he looks in the eyes of the Vigo statue, but the part they didn't show you in the movie is Ray actually gets possessed and tries to kill everybody by crashing the car into a tree, and then Peter says something to the effect is, "Don't even let him shave alone," or something like that. So that was cut. And also, I think this actually aired in the theater, where Slimer runs towards the screen like he does in the first movie at the end of the movie. That was actually in the second movie and they cut it out. And there's this scene, I don't know if it was in the theaters or not, it might have just been a deleted scene, where Lewis actually fights Slimer in the Ghostbusters firehouse, and if you look at the montage where Lewis is like, "Man, it smells like somebody took a big dump," and Slimer's eating Lewis's lunch that has his name Lewis written in marker on the paper bag, he actually puts on a proton pack and actually tries to fight Slimer. And if you look out the featurettes on YouTube, you actually can see a clip without the special effects of Lewis actually trying to fight Slimer, but since they didn't add the special effects, you don't see Slimer or the proton streams, you just see all the pyrotechnics, I guess, where the proton streams were supposed to hit. That's fairly easy to find if you just look up Ghostbusters 2 featurette. And apparently Ghostbusters 2 was documented way more than the first movie, and the first movie had a lot of bonus features on it. So yeah, I'd like to see a proper DVD release. Every time they release Ghostbusters 2 on DVD, I don't know if it's out on Blu-ray. I know the first movie's out on Blu-ray. Like Ghostbusters 2 always gets a bare bones disc. I think the most they ever put on a Ghostbusters 2 DVD was son of a bitch. Sorry. My controller is a little bit loose, so sometimes it doesn't respond as fast as I would like it to, which in turn makes me get hit a lot. I know that probably sounds like a bullshit excuse of why I'm losing or getting hit, but it's the truth. I'm not the greatest player at this game either, but there are some things that I could avoid if the controls were a little bit more responsive, but that's the controller's fault, not the game's. The game actually controls pretty well. So when Ghostbusters 2 came out, I had the river slime. I would make my mom mad because we had liquid soap and it looked just like the Ghostbusters 2 pink slime. And I would use the slime on my action figures, so my mom would get mad when she noticed half of the bottle of soap missing, because I would slime all my action figures with it. Like, it took forever for them to get me the firehouse, because the firehouse actually came with ectoplasm. My parents didn't want me to get it in the carpet, which I probably would have, and I think I did, but they hid it in the medicine cabinet. I mean, shit. I hate it when the ghosts just appear. It'd be cool if you had a PKE meter, but where you actually could sense the game, but that might be asking a lot for an NES game. Like I said, this is a game that you kind of have to just remember what happens. Besides this playthrough, because I'm recording a commentary, like, the more I play this game, I get a little bit further. I can guarantee that that's not gonna happen on this particular playthrough, or whatever you want to call this. This isn't a playthrough because I don't get to the end. Those actually look like Sam Hain, the Halloween ghost from the real Ghostbusters. This would have made a decent real Ghostbusters game, this particular engine. I wish they would make a real Ghostbusters game if they can't afford to make a huge budget new Ghostbusters game for the current systems they have now. I wouldn't mind that at all, because there's way more different kinds of ghosts in the cartoon series, because there's like 150 episodes. And if you're into the series, I'd definitely check out the Time Life Real Ghostbusters DVD set. It actually comes in a set that's shaped like a firehouse. I actually show you guys it in one of my videos. And I did record this video before, like when I first started recording videos, but you can barely hear what I'm saying. I didn't optimize the volume levels. And it also, half of the video was showing you the Activision version on the NES, so you didn't really get to see anything really of this game. So I want to re-record it, plus I like playing this game. So if you don't like rewatching it, which this is a completely different video, I don't know why it would be an issue. Always watch a different one. This is actually music from the movie, licensed music. Any other Ghostbuster 2 game uses the theme higher, like that was the music that was playing when they were in the Statue of Liberty to make it go. But this one actually has more songs than that. So there's a few different versions of Ghostbusters 2, like, and they're published by Activision, because there's a version for the Commodore 64, the Amiga, and a bunch of other systems like the Z Spectrum or whatever it was called. I believe there's even a really rare Atari version that looks horrible. I played the Commodore 64 version. There's actually a homebrew remake made just for the PC of that version too, but there's actually a somewhat fun version of Ghostbusters 2 for the DOS, or for DOS for the PC, which actually takes a lot of the elements from the original Ghostbusters game, where you have to manage money and stuff. The ghost busting part's fun because you actually can use the mouse, and it's in a third person view, and you have to trap the ghost, kind of like here. It's kind of more like the new Ghostbuster game, where you actually have to lower the ghost's energy before you even can fight the ghost or whatever. But then there's crappy parts where you have to go down the river of slime and collect samples, and it's kind of difficult. Where is he getting coat hangers from in the river of slime? That version actually has a fight with the Scolari brothers too, but they look kind of weird in that game. They're like blue or purple or something. Get these little things. I guess these are supposed to be versions, either that thing that was in the bathtub trying to get Oscar the baby, or the thing that tried to grab Ray when he was in the river of slime. If you go by the movie, this part would probably take place at the same time as the first river of slime part. But the Ghostbusters didn't have proton packs in there. Why am I even worried about accurateness to the movies? Beyond me, because it doesn't matter. It's just a fun game. I have to say, Louis Tully's, for not being Ghostbusters, is pretty accurate. Everybody controls the same. This is one of the few Ghostbuster games beside the new ones that you actually can play as Winston. But since the limited color palette, he's like blue, which looks weird. It looks like Winston's ghost or something. These Ghostbusters don't move horribly fast, so it's kind of hard sometimes to avoid the projectiles, plus the slime flows kind of messes up the way you walk. Not a fan of these Slimers. It's weird that they decided to add that laugh. Slimer never really laughed like that. Alright, I gotta play it a little bit better than what I'm currently doing. I think they could have used a better sound effect than what they used for Slimer, because Slimer has kind of a deep monster voice. So apparently at some point the Ghostbusters fought Tops. I have no idea what they're actually really supposed to be, but that's what they look like. The tops that you spin on the table. Or a roll of paper towels. I want that money, but it'll probably disappear before I actually get to it. It did not disappear. Good for it. Ah, the extra life sound. Need as many as those as I can get. Pain in the ass, and the slimes go in the opposite direction that you want to walk. You almost have a feeling of relief when you actually get on solid ground. Plus, you don't want to be exposed to the mood slime too long. It'd be weird if they had a mode where if they're in a slime too long, they'd start fighting each other. And this is probably why I'm not a game designer. So back to the PC DOS game, beside going down and getting samples, which sucks, there's also the part where you control the Statue of Liberty, which controls awfully. It's super hard to fight. And then basically when the goal to get slime samples is to actually research to build a slime blower. But then like whenever your Ghostbusters like get captured or die or whatever, they go to the Parkview Mental Hospital, and then you have to rappel down and actually get them. But the ghost busting part is really fun on that game, and you look past it. Now the Amiga Commodore 64 version, why did I go down here when I was supposed to go up in that one little gate? That version's kind of lousy because that starts out, it only has 3 levels. One, you rappel down the boss fight. There's no way I can win this. This is one of the few ghosts that you don't actually need to trap. I think you need to trap the last one. They're not nice guys. It kind of looks like they're using slime out instead of proton ones. For such horrible beasts, they make really high-pitched, loud noises. I think one of the reasons why Activision, or it might have even been Nintendo, that they didn't release this in the US is because they were really cautious around the time when the Super Nintendo was about to come out, like releasing new NES games. Wow, I beat that. Well, at least I made it to the museum. But they're kind of cautious. That's why we didn't get the first Earthbound, but I don't even know if anybody would have played it. So we're in the museum. I do like the touch of the slime leaking off of the portraits. It looks pretty cool. The museum has a little creepy atmosphere. I feel like this is the most complete Ghostbusters 2 experience. I wish like the mod community, I don't know if you can mod it or not. I don't understand that much about modding things on the PC. But they use the Ghostbuster engine and from the newer game on the PC and actually try to recreate the movies, but from start to finish I do think that this is the best Ghostbusters 2 game. The Game Boy one's pretty decent. Honestly, it wasn't really into the newer Ghostbusters game that just came out a few years ago. That we actually had a decent Ghostbusters game before this, and I didn't even have much time to play this one before those games came out. You can tell the characters change colors ever so slightly in each level to keep up with the color palette. HAL is pretty good at making the levels pretty diverse in color, instead of having the same color scheme all the time. They were really good at that with like Kirby's Adventure. Konami was too. I looked back at the Batman game and they changed the color palettes all the time, so each level looks distinctively different. Slimer. At least you're back to a bad guy instead of that annoying ghost that's like, yeah, every time they ask him something. But Slimer really didn't talk in the first few episodes of the cartoon series. He didn't really start talking until it went on. I think it switched channels or something. Like it came on like ABC, maybe it started on 12, or maybe it was always on ABC. I don't remember, I was pretty young. But towards the end of the lifespan of the series, they geared it towards younger kids and took out a lot of the creepy stuff. And Slimer slowly started to talk more until he got his own show, which is kind of weird in its own right, because it's more like a Tex Avery type of cartoon. It wasn't that enjoyable. Like, I have the whole set on DVD of the real Ghostbusters, and I didn't even finish watching the whole thing when it started going to the Slimer episodes. They were too unbearable. Alright. Terrible things await. We get to fight the Scoleri brothers again, which is kind of random. Apparently somebody broke the containment unit. Or somebody never put them in it. These Sam Haines. probably saying that name wrong, but I can't think of the right way to say it offhand. I'm going purely by verbal instinct when I'm doing these, when I have to focus on the screen and talk at the same time. It was kind of depressing when I watched the real Ghostbusters as a kid, because in real Ghostbusters, Slimer was good, the Marshmallow Man was good. So when I actually saw Ghostbusters, actually after having the Marshmallow Man and sleeping with it like a doll, I know, weird, right? Sleeping with something that was going to destroy the world, but in the cartoon he was a good guy. So when my parents rented Ghostbusters, the movie, and I saw it as a kid for the first time, I didn't expect the Marshmallow Man to explode and when they crossed the streams and all that stuff, because I thought he was a good guy, and I cried apparently when he died or got sent back to whatever dimension he came from. It's like a ghost or whatever. I don't think he can technically die. He just loses form. I guess that's why he was able to come back. Well, it's Gozer. Just like, it's supposed to be like a Babylonian god or something. I don't know. There's a problem with the control. I wanted to go in that opening so bad, but I wasn't aligned properly. I have no that's kind of a pain to get through that thing, I'm not gonna lie. Those little ropes. This level's fairly big. I'd still say the Vakeman's apartment level is probably the biggest. These little gel things kind of look like those blobs from The Legend of Zelda. And then when I used to play Legends of Zelda, I thought they looked like jello-y Hershey's Kisses. Why? I have no idea. I was a troubled child. Well, there's Slimer, and there's a bunch of obstacles, and he's probably gonna throw a bunch of shit. Let's hope that we see him before he sees us. Even though there's 15 of them, so I don't know. You gotta be careful with Slimer, because Slimer actually, I think, can go through walls if I'm not mistaken, which is causing me to have a few deaths. Luckily, apparently my trap's supernatural and can go through walls as well. These Slimers don't appear to throw stuff, which is convenient for me. Oh, here we go. These little gel things. Son of a bitch. At least it wasn't my last life. I'd at least like to get to the boss before I cash it. All my tokens in there. I forgot what the phrase is off. I think it's just cash in. Whatever phrase it is, the die. It's those heads from the River of Slime that creeped me out when I saw the movie for the first time. Severed head on poles. Definitely shouldn't have been in a PG movie, but it was. Apparently it's appropriate as long as they have slime on them. And they have like horrible faces on them too. I think this is where we fight Janusz, but there's no chance in hell. I think I have one continue left. Why does he have a giant head is beyond me. I don't know the patterns of... his projectiles, so I really don't have much of a chance. Oh, Lewis, if this was the movie, you'd still be outside shooting the museum, about to take credit for when the Ghostbusters actually destroy Vigo, but we're not gonna get that far in the game anyway, so might as well stick to fiction. Janusz, I hate you and your giant head. Damn it. They're spinning me my life like crazy. Oh, that's game over. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys on the next video. Alright guys, take care.